James earns millions from internet marketing. Tim's got millions of questions. Welcome to Freedom Ocean. Now, jump on in.
Welcome back, listeners, to another very loving episode of Freedom Ocean, Australia's most loved internet marketing podcast. And I'm your host, Tim Reed, and I'm joined with the other host, with the most, James Schramko. Hello, James.
G'day, Timbo. How you going?
Mate, I'm very well. You must be a little bit, what's the word? What do you do when you travel all over the world in a very quick amount of time? You must be tired and jet lagged.
No, I'm energised and fired up, very focused.
Love it. I love the fact that you got off the plane and the next thing you're asking is when are we doing the next episode of Freedom Ocean. So
That's it.
You sound like many of our listeners who come through on Facebook and the show notes saying, when are you going to do the next episode of Freedom Ocean? So that's good, mate.
I timed my aeroplane to arrive first thing on Sunday morning.
Yep.
And then I just crawl into bed for a whole day.
Yep.
And I'm ready to go by Monday.
Yeah, and did the pilot say to you, oh, mate, I've gone extra quickly because I know you've got another episode of The Ocean to do?
You know, I did meet the pilot, which is strange because, you sort of wonder who is flying this thing right now while I'm talking to the pilot. Mm-hmm. But luckily they have a little bit of automation, and that might come up in today's episode. Yes,
it might. Yes, well, exactly. Today's episode, we will no longer keep our powder dry. We're going to go into some depth on another business model, which in this case is webinars. And James, in fact, before we leave your overseas adventures, we should maybe give us 2 or 3 top learnings, because you've gone off 10 days around the world, met with a few people, done a few seminars or workshops, and I'm sure we could fill a lot of episodes with it. You'll probably go into some detail with Fast Web Formula 3, but what were your top 2 or 3 learnings, mate, that you've come back with?
Okay, the most important thing is you absolutely have to get out of your own neighbourhood and see what's going on out there somewhere else. Even if it's in the same town, on the other side of town, or if you are sitting at home doing this internet marketing thing, go to a local meetup. You've got to physically go and meet people in person and exchange eyeballs and talk and gather intel and get perspective. So I've just gone to 4 countries, 10 airplanes. I didn't do it as a speaker. I did it more as a participant, and also a little bit of private networking with a few people that have been on my shortlist to catch up with. And I've come back with extreme clarity about what it is that I'm doing and where my business is going. And the best thing is it's going to take my clones and copycats another year or 2 to figure out what I'm up to, because I know what I'm doing, but they don't. So I've got a strategic advantage again.
You're suggesting get out, or be selective?
I mean, this is funny, but I'm actually now friends on Facebook with some of the people who I sat beside in the aeroplane. But I also got to observe things that were different than last time I went to the same country. For example, in flights between, let's say, Dallas and New York, I observed that a good portion of the people in the airplane have now got iPads or Kindles or some kind of portable device that they're using in flight. And that was certainly not the case last year. So there's a proliferation of personal devices. There are a lot of QR codes in other countries.
Just on the proliferation of personal devices, does that mean that everyone creating websites now must make it a mandatory for their developer to make it mobile friendly?
Forget the website part of it. I think the most important thing is media consumption. Okay. The internet is just absolutely entrenched into society now. Every magazine, every newspaper, there's QR codes on shop windows. The point that I got is it's never ever been as easy to reach the person, every man, the normal person. Like all the magazines have their reader app that you can download now, like the Wall Street Journal, and you can consume information on the go. So for me, that means advertising opportunities, content distribution opportunities. So well beyond just the website, it's how do you get in front of these people? So I think the advertising medium is something that is very, very interesting because people are all switched on. They're plugged in.
But I'll ask you that question again because I know it's, when you said for a long time, it's not about the website, and I concur. But if you are going to have a website, and I'm sure everyone listening to the show has one or is about to build one, I'm still going to a lot of websites on my iPad or my iPhone, and they are not mobile friendly. When I do get to one that's mobile friendly, it's so refreshing because it makes the consuming of the information in it really easy. So,
well, you know what? I haven't had the same experience,
right?
Because most of the websites that I use when I'm portable are sites like Facebook, Gmail, my bank, PayPal. I'm not encountering this lack of mobile friendliness. I really think
all the big ones.
Businesses are kidding themselves if they think that people are going to their website from all these portable devices. I think they're going to the main websites, and that's where you want to be to draw them back.
Yeah,
so, no, I don't think it's a massive issue. I think, like, for example, my iPad, it's much easier to use with the browser than it is to use with apps, which, you have to do on the iPhone. A lot of websites will have to have some sort of app or browser-friendly site. But for the iPad, it seems to render sites very well. The only real exception is video. And I do suggest people use videos that will work on an Apple device, which the format that I use these days is M4V, but you could use MP4.
What about MOV?
Well, MOV will work, but it won't work for normal people on their PC or desktop.
Normal people. Hello to all you normal people using
for Windows users, it's not going to be very friendly.
The dark arts.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, one more observation, James, because I know you've got a lot, and as I said,
one of the main takeaways is, I guess, was the way that I collect, gather, and then sort, and then implement information, and it's extra compressed when you place a high value on it. So let's just imagine that my trip away costs more than $10,000. Okay, then I'm placing a real value on that data that I've gathered, the intel, the conversations, and I strain and sort that into my Evernote pad, and then I put my Evernote pad up beside my project stream, which is the way that I manage my workflow, and I start to bring in the nuggets. And the real key is to be fast with your implementation. So speed of implementation is the key. I already started implementing things before I got home. So I got on the Skype with my team. I talked about new things or thoughts that I'd had or innovations that I believe would work for us and started them so that they're already implemented and habit by the time I get home. And that is crucial. So I fear that a lot of people, they might do step one, get out, get perspective, go and travel, but then they store that information or never implement, and they might as well not have gone at all.
Mm-hmm. What did you say to me yesterday? You said workshops are for some type of person, Google, and implementation is for another. Can you remember that?
I was talking about Kogan, who's a prolific retailer in Australia. I think he said that training is for people who want to look like they're learning stuff, and then Google's for people who actually want to learn stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
something to that effect. It was in our BRW magazine.
It wasn't specifically related to what we were talking about, but the point being, you can do all sorts of training, and actually never get to the point of implementing, which I know a lot of our listeners. James, great mate. Thank you for sharing. That is a wrap, I reckon, on the power of webinars as a business model. Hope to see all of you at Fast Web Formula 3. And thanks, James. Until next time, go and take a dip into the Freedom Ocean.
Thanks, Timbo.
See you, mate.
See ya.
Thanks for diving into the Freedom Ocean with James Schramko and Tim Reed. You've just come that little bit closer to living the life you choose. Please keep in mind that the ideas, opinions, and information shared in the show are those of the hosts and do not reflect those of their past employers. And as far as future employers go, well, they're both pretty much unemployable.